is a recording of our playbook. Download it and the Multisite Collaboration Lab from our website. Welcome to our whiteboard drawing, Multisite Collaboration Lab Build, Part 1. This drawing describes how to build the Ashbridges Bay Extensible Multisite Collaboration Lab. Let's start with a quick overview and review. The Extensible Multisite Collaboration Lab is a place to run the Enterprise 20 playbooks. The Extensible Multisite Collaboration Lab is described in About the ABay Lab environment. This drawing shows you how to build it. You need this to build the lab: a CUCM ISO and OVA, preferably 9.1.2, but other versions should work with tinkering. To be able to host 2 CUCM VMs, some phones or CIPCs, 3 will do, the BAT file for the Extensible Multisite PSTN simulation. This file provides the Multisite PSTN simulation configuration and is available for download by subscribers. You don't need voice gateway routers for the lab. You don't need expensive voice cards. All you need to run the collaboration playbooks are 2 VMs and some phones. On the left is the Enterprise 20 cluster. We run the Enterprise 20 playbooks on this cluster and use the Multisite PSTN simulation for testing. On the right is the Multisite PSTN simulation cluster, a 10-site simulated PSTN with test phones to use to test the Enterprise 20 dial plan. We use different kinds of trunks to connect the clusters. You can use whatever names and addresses you want for your VMs. We use CUCM Pub for Enterprise 20 and Central Pub for the Multisite PSTN simulation. We use 172.20.200.61 for the address for Central Pub. To build the lab, install Central Pub. Then download and bat in the Multisite PSTN simulation configuration file to get the 10-site simulation, including test phones. Launch test phones to test the Enterprise 20 configuration. The BAT files for the Extensible Multisite PSTN simulation provide a 10-site PSTN simulation and are available for download by subscribers. Use this file, the configuration for Central Pub. If you find a later version of the file, then use that. We update BAT files separately from updates of the recordings and playbooks. Download the BAT files for the Extensible Multisite PSTN simulation from our website. Install CUCM Pub and optionally build a larger Enterprise 20 cluster. Run the playbooks and bat in test phones for testing, or load BAT file solutions. Testing is not easy. It's not so easy to test a 10-site deployment. There are many route, translation, and transformation patterns that have to be hit to validate everything is working. There are 10 sites that need to be tested for AAR, CIFR, class of service, call forwarding behavior, and other things like codec negotiation and device mobility, and more. Bat in Enterprise 20 phones to make testing easier. 2 for each site. Configured with speed dials for quick testing, and more than 100 test numbers configured for abbreviated dialing. Download the Enterprise 20 abbreviated dial test numbers version 4 file to get the list of abbreviated dial numbers configured for each test phone. Note, we just updated the ABay Lab environment zip file to version 4.1 and included Enterprise 20 abbreviated dial test numbers version 4.xlsx. Download different BAT file test phone configurations for different Enterprise 20 playbooks. There are more to come. See About Our Progress for updates. The playbooks will tell you when to use these files. BAT in Enterprise 20 Playbook Solutions. BAT in Enterprise 20 Playbook Solutions for testing and starting points for subsequent playbooks. Enterprise 20 Initial System Configuration. Enterprise 20 Initial Dial Plan Configuration. Enterprise 20 delayed 7-digit dialing configuration, Enterprise 20 blocking on lines class of service for delayed 7-digit dialing configuration, and Enterprise 20 blocking on lines class of service for no delayed 7-digit dialing configuration. Again, there is more to come, so see about our progress for updates. This is the Enterprise 20 deployment for CUCM, CUC, IM&P, and UCCX. ELM-A is co-resident with CUCM Pub. This is the ABay lab environment with the Enterprise 20 cluster. The multi-site PSTN simulation is provided by a single CUCM VM, Central Pub. The Enterprise 20 cluster is connected to the multi-site PSTN simulation via H.323 and SIP trunks. But you can do this for your lab. You don't need multiple VLANs or a lab router. You can use whatever names and addresses you want to for your 2 VMs. Use our names and addresses, or use something more convenient for you. Here are the tasks for building the Multisite Collaboration Lab. We've broken them up into 4 parts. Deploy VMs, Central Pub, and CUCM Pub. You need your 2 VMs installed and running. Configure Central Pub. This provides you with the multi-site PSTN simulation to use to test your Enterprise 20 configurations. Enterprise 20, configure CUCM Pub. This represents your Enterprise 20 cluster. And finally, test and experiment. We'll provide alternate instructions for a laptop PC-based lab when we can, assuming it's possible, which we think it is, but we haven't tested it yet. We need to deploy the lab VMs, Central Pub and CUCM Pub first. Deploy VMs, Central Pub and CUCM Pub. Install and configure ESXi host. Build lab environment. Deploy CUCM VMs from OVAs. Install CUCM VMs. Our current lab uses C-Series BE6000 platforms. We've completely described the tasks required to stand up these platforms and install Cisco UC apps in other playbooks. You can use a smaller, simpler environment for your lab. You need to install and configure an ESXi host. Day 1, UC on C-Series describes the tasks required to deploy an ESXi host for UC applications on C-Series servers. The tasks for other kinds of servers are similar. You need a VMware environment ready to install 2 CUCM VMs to continue with this playbook. Any environment will do. How to build a lab environment was covered in the Build Jump Lab module. You can use this module to build a duplicate of your production cluster in a sandbox, or you can use it for a learning test lab. Use the builds cluster described in those playbooks for your lab. Or you can do something simple for your lab. You don't need multiple VLANs or a lab router. You can use a single VLAN with only one subnet. We're not suggesting these are good names, we're only illustrating that it doesn't matter what names and addresses you use. You need to deploy CUCM VMs from OVAs and install them. How to do this is discussed in Day 2, Installation Day. Stay tuned for Multisite Collaboration Lab Build Part 2.